apparently it was originally planned as a movie with Channing Tatum starring and producing. The role then later went to Kevin Hart. And as far as I understand, it went to Kevin Hart in the wake of. Do you remember the Kevin Hart was going to present the Oscars and then he wasn't because it turned out there's a bunch of stuff he'd done in the past, his homophobic tweets and some, not funny comedy routines. And he didn't do the standard thing about apologizing. He just didn't. And then he ended up standing down from the Oscars presentation gig, and then there was the whole thing was kind of very very messy. In the wake of that, he does this role, and it's possible to see this, opportunistically, which is that this is a role in which he's, caring, sensitive, people could say, cast against type. He is a dad whose wife dies shortly after giving birth to their daughter, and he then has to deal with raising a young child, and he has to deal with, the issues of parenthood. And one of the issues turns out to be the fact that his daughter doesn't want to follow the school's dress code. She likes to wear trousers and boys' pants, and he's very supportive and caring, and he's also starting to rediscover his place in the world. But he's sensitive as to how his actions will impact on his daughter. So it's a kind of weird mix of mawkish sentimentality with little bursts of Kevin Hart doing the kind of more raucous humour that's that he's known for, a lot of which is played up in the trailer. Here is a clip when he is in desperation about how to deal with the day-to-day stuff of being a dad, and he walks into a mother support group.
I need help. I need the crying to stop. How do I make the crying stop?
Okay. My oldest had colic for the first couple of months.
What's colic?
It's when babies cry for hours on end without any reason to feel like your eyes are about to pop out.
I gave the baby colic.
No, that's not how colic works.
That's because I'm not washing my hands and I'm just touching the baby, and that's how I gave the baby colic, probably.
You don't give a baby colic. It's more of a digestive thing.
That's a relief.
Thing that worked for me was white noise, surprisingly.
White noise.
White noise.
So you can kind of hear from that on the one hand, it's got that element of the stuff that Kevin Hart is famous for, and then on the other hand, it's got, this, yes, but he's a sensitive, caring new man, kind of, single father, blah 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 blah. I'd say, firstly, I laughed more at playing the Cream of the Streams intro twice than I did through the movie. So it's not very funny. It's not without a couple of laughs, but I mean, the thing is, it's almost impossible to make any movie in which a kind of, a parent is a fish out of water with their, their child, and the child does stuff and the parent doesn't understand it, because it's, that's kind of, it's almost like quite bang horror scares. It's very easy to make that stuff work. In terms of its politics, it's not as radical or as interesting as recent films like Palmer, which actually I thought was good. Remember with Justin Timberlake, who he's he's an ex-con who befriends a transgender boy, and which I thought was a really interesting movie. Or Cowboys recently. So, and in terms of coming of age, parent-child comedies, it's not as funny as About a Boy. In terms of mawkish parental grief sentimentality on film, it's less convincing than the Liam Neeson stuff in Love Actually. So it's not terrible. It's very ordinary. It was going to have a theatrical release that was stymied by COVID, and I think it's found its natural home on streaming services, because you wouldn't want to go to the cinema to see it. It also, I do think that the whole thing does smack a little bit of somebody having blotted their copybook, then a slightly cynical attempt to kind of to soften or broaden its range. But hey, you can hear that I'm just not that interested by it, and I think that's the main thing about it, is that it's just not particularly interesting. It feels like stuff that you've seen done more interestingly or more funny or more edgily elsewhere. But it's not terrible. Wouldn't have been much of a Father's Day present. I would have preferred chocolate.
Okay, well, I might not bother with that.